Good morning and welcome to the November 23rd, 2021 edition of the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau. First order of item for us is roll call, and Jamie will help us with that.
Chairman Dennis.
Here.
Vice Chair Olson.
Here.
Board Member Costello.
Here.
Board Member Levine.
Here.
Board Member Patel.
Here.
Excellent, thank you. Next is item 3.1, which is the meeting minutes from 7/27/21. I'm hoping everyone had an opportunity to review those. And are there any indicated changes that we might want to bring forward today? Okay, seeing none, I would look for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Olson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director Lori Levine. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next is item, section 4, which is business items. The first one is 4.1, Explore Minnesota Recovery Grant Program, and Julie is going to take us through that.
Hello and good morning, everyone. So nice to see you here. I am going to be talking about the Explore Minnesota Recovery Grant Program, a partnership with Explore Minnesota. This grant is the purpose of it was really to aid the immediate recovery of the tourism industry due to the pandemic. The program fully funded 49 applicants, as we were one of them. The amount that we put forward to ask for, $10,000, was the full amount, and we were awarded the $10,000. Below, you can see that we highlighted, or on the screen, I should say, you can see that we highlighted a few areas, knowing that our visitor's guide is going to be up and coming in 2022. The grant itself is really based on marketing initiatives. It's really heavy into the marketing, and so we tried to think of the visitor's guide coming into 2022 and how some of this grant funds can be utilized towards supporting that, and then also raising our brand awareness about Discover Cottage Grove and the CVB in general. This grant, an important thing to note, does not require any matching funds on our part, and a mini progress report for the Explore Minnesota will be due to them mid-April, just how things are going and how we're, perceiving how everything is being used and if it's to our benefit. And then a full report will be sent to them and to you all at the end of this, which ends June 30th. And so our report will be due in August to them. We really wanted to take full advantage of any opportunities coming our way, being as we are a new Convention and Visitors Bureau, just getting going and establishing our brand, like I said, and getting out there and building awareness. We have a recommendation, Chairman, in front of you for you to accept, and I will stand for any questions.
All right, well, thank you. First, I would say that we were very fortunate to receive that grant of $10,000. Obviously, that's some money that will be well put to use and was very much needed. Do we have any comments from the commission? Vice Chair Olson.
Thank you. Excellent news on the grant. I appreciate the update and obviously all the hard work that went into securing that grant. I'm curious if we have benchmarked any other convention and visitor bureaus around the state relative to how they have been using these sorts of funds. Do we have any insight into that?
Well, this was available, and as I said, the time frame to use it is till the end of June 30th, 2022. So I believe that everyone is going to be using their funds basically until then. Just in discussion with a few other convention and visitors bureaus at a conference we had gone to and building some relationships, they too are using it a lot towards marketing initiatives. Some are building, they're adding it to events that they'd like to start doing and start promoting in their community as a way to market themselves and their city. So I've also seen some of that happening.
Okay, thank you. And the reason I asked is, being so new, we're still sort of building up our infrastructure with respect to website and other tools. So I was just curious if that was something that other convention and visitors bureaus were targeting with this funding, or if they had something that we hadn't even thought of. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will definitely be doing some research myself, and talking with some of those about how they are spending their funds after sort of they've been utilized and out there. I know that more of the established convention and visitors bureaus are putting it towards events, and getting some larger events their way to be able to market their city in different ways. And some of the smaller ones that I've talked to, such as like Inver Grove Heights, they are using theirs more towards marketing initiatives and building out their infrastructure, as you said.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Justin. Any additional thoughts, feedback? Okay, so we do have a recommendation in front of us for a motion to accept grant award of $10,000 from the Explore Minnesota Fiscal Year 2022 Recovery Grant Program. So I'd be looking for a recommendation to approve or deny.
I will recommend that we accept the grant award of $10,000 from the Explore Minnesota Fiscal Year 2022 Recovery Grant Program.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Olson. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Director Patel. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next item is 4.2, which is the second and third quarter lodging tax revenue report. And Julie will help us with this one as well.
I do have just a slight 4.2. We have affiliate welcome center program. We may have to give you an updated
Correct.
agenda. There we go.
They moved it from the one that was given to me
Yes,
last week.
apologies.
Okay, well, so we'll do that. 4.2 Affiliate Welcome Center Program.
All right, this is another partnership with Explore Minnesota. The background of this partnership is really an exchange of in-kind services. No monetary funds between the two parties will happen. Basically, the Welcome Center program will give us marketing and publication materials on their behalf, and then in turn, they will take our marketing and publication materials and advertise it on their website and different state publications that they have. In looking at this partnership opportunity, what they are looking for in a welcome center is really a highly trafficked area within your city that their materials can be distributed at. And so we had originally talked to some folks in Parks and Recreation months ago about what our most highly trafficked volume was in the city. We determined that is probably the ice rink. Lots of different visitors because of tournaments and games and things like that happening there. So we put some math together on that about their average users and monthly visitors to that. This information was submitted to Explore Minnesota, and they did approve our math and the Welcome Center here if we would like to have it in exchange for in-kind services with them. So Chairman, I have in front of you a recommendation for you to accept, but I will stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions on this particular topic? Okay, so then we'll look for a recommendation to approve the memorandum of understanding laid out by Explore Minnesota for Cottage Grove Ice Rink to become an affiliate welcome center. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion by Director Patel. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director Levine. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, now we'll move to 4.3, which is second and third quarter lodging tax revenue, and Jamie will help us with that.
Good morning. So May 1st, 2020, we started collecting a 3% lodging tax on all facilities classified as a hotel, motel, rooming house, tourist court, or resort. The funds are collected quarterly and used to fund the Cottage Grove Visitors Bureau. We do collect the lodging tax quarterly, 30 days after April 1st, July 1st, October 1st, and January 1st for each previous quarter. Per statute 1340-495, data other than basic taxpayer identification data collected from taxpayers under the lodging tax ordinance are non-public. So moving forward, we will not be showing you hotel or lodging facility name associated with a specific dollar amount. It'll just be shown as lodging tax revenue. So in, excuse me, looking at our Q2 and Q3 lodging tax revenue, quarter two collections were $15,075 from lodging tax revenue. And we did have a $1,000 Explore Minnesota Tourism Crisis Marketing Grant that we received in quarter two as well. That was used to supplement lost dollars from COVID pandemic restricting travel for guests. This total exceeded our conservative projected revenue by $5,017. Lodging tax collections for quarter three of 2021 were $19,680 in lodging tax revenue. This total exceeded our projected revenue by $8,672. Revenues are projecting upward, and we expect that to continue into quarter four as well. So if you look at the graph at the bottom, we are actually over our total 2021 projected revenue at the end of third quarter. And at this time, I'll pass back to the chairman for any questions or comments.
Okay, thank you. It's great to hear that we're trending in a very positive direction. Any comments or questions from Vice Chair Olson?
Thank you. This may not be something that anybody can answer at this point in time, but something perhaps to research. So we know that we just talked about the ice arena and how much traffic it gets. And we also know we're heading into the fourth quarter, which is hockey season. And generally speaking, our arena gets an awful lot of activity during hockey season for various tournaments, et cetera. Do we have any indication of whether or not there are some big tournaments that are on the horizon that might help contribute to keeping our hotels full in town? And then secondly, do we know if the hotels are aware that there may be some hockey tournaments coming to town so that they can identify specific dates where they might want to run a special or advertise via email to their current customer list or what have you? And really what I'm looking for here is, are we creating some synergy between the business owners and the city relative to keeping everybody in the loop on what might be coming down the pipeline for Q4 and then probably into Q1? My suspicion is the hoteliers would appreciate knowledge of any upcoming larger events so that they could adjust their business plans accordingly, but perhaps Director Patel has some insight into that I don't, being that that's really his cup of tea and not mine.
Yeah, we're aware of the events that are coming in, and we are selling out on the weekends. But I do like that synergy aspect, which is a missing link. It's from previous histories that we know there's certain tournaments and certain people know about us, and that's how we're getting the information. It's not directly coming from the ring, and that would be nice. That synergy would work better, but it's word of mouth. Weekends are selling out with tournaments, but quarter 4 and 1 will be a little bit slower because it's winter, and then the weekdays are the empty ones and the weekends are filled out, while quarter 2 and 3 sold out every day and stuff. So it'll be interesting.
And the reason I bring it up, Mr. Chair, is, we've got Jordan Herman, who runs the ice arena. We've got Zach, who's our Park and Recs director. But then we also have the Athletic Association and their board, and I'm thinking it might be wise to get all of the various stakeholders at the proverbial table to make sure that, there are no knowledge gaps and that we're creating that synergy. It's important, especially during Q4, because we have various holidays that plop into the fourth quarter. And over the holidays, there tend to be lots of different tournaments, Thanksgiving tournament, Christmas tournament, New Year's tournament, that sort of thing. And if you're not aware of it, it makes it a little bit harder to market towards that specific end user. So anyway, just a thought I wanted to share.
Well, it's a great comment to make, and I also, know and understand that I've received feedback from various restaurateurs here in the community or other businesses that would be impacted by large groups of folks coming to town. And in the majority of these instances, when there have been major tournaments over at Kingston Park, for example, the businesses are not being advised. And so, companies are getting basically crushed when, there's 250 extra sandwiches that have to be made that day, and they didn't know they needed to bake enough bread. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I've thought about it, and I know Councilmember Olson and I have discussed this in the past, that this is something that we would really like to see happen for our business community. So I think this is the perfect, pathway through the Bureau. Director Levine.
Like to, in that same realm, paying attention to the large events, even going around us. I work closely with all of the other Washington County chambers. And of course, Greater Stillwater Chamber is hosting in January a World Snow Sculpture. That is supposed to bring, I don't even know the numbers exactly anymore, what it's going to bring in, but she has asked all the other Washington County chambers to prepare their businesses, their lodging, their restaurants within 30 miles of Stillwater will be packed that January 18th through the 23rd, I believe is the exact dates. So really preparing so that we represent our communities well during that time.
Awesome. Great feedback. Vice Chair Olson.
Yeah, I think the lesson here is, just listening to everybody speaking, is we want to make sure that we keep our business owners abreast of what may be coming, what's on the calendar now, so that they can staff appropriately. You mentioned, ensure that they have enough product on hand, that sort of thing. Those are opportunities to either really impress your customer or disappoint your customer. And when you disappoint the customer, what's going to happen is the customer is going to find somebody else who can meet their needs, and I don't think any of us want that. I think we want to be a destination so that they can actually discover Cottage Grove. I really like the idea of the Stillwater thing because, how convenient is it for people to stay in Cottage Grove and, travel to and from Stillwater? They're not right in the heart of the mess. They can stay here. It's very easy to access Stillwater from here. And I'm sure there are events like that around the St. Paul, Minneapolis area pretty much all the time that some of our folks probably would like to be aware of. So anyway, I wasn't trying to open a huge, Pandora's box of to-dos, but certainly I think it's a valuable piece of insight relative to making sure that our business owners know we're looking out for them.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to item 4.4, which is the 2022 budget approval, and Jamie will assist with that as well.
Thank you. So our draft budget for 2022 was submitted to the city council and serves as a placeholder until we submit our final budget. The Visitors Bureau started during the COVID pandemic, so we had to adjust our revenue projections to account for the downturn in the lodging industry. Our pre-COVID projections had annual lodging tax revenue between $66,000 and $71,000 using a 60 to 65% occupancy rate. For 2021, our revenue projections used a bit more moderate 40 to 45% occupancy rate for an estimate of $44,232 for 2021 lodging tax revenue. Q1 numbers for 2021 were averaged out to about $3,156 per month, which is slightly lower than projected. Quarter 2 was averaged to $5,025 per month, which was just over $1,300 higher than projected. Quarter 3 revenue was averaged out to $6,560 per month, which is $2,874 per month higher than projected. So this makes the case that we still do not have like a real strong history base to use towards our projections until we have about 2 to 3 years post-COVID numbers. But numbers are trending in the right direction. So for 2022, the Visitors Bureau is using a 60% occupancy rate for lodging tax revenue. That gives us $66,348 in projected revenue. We also have the $10,000 grant from Explore Minnesota fiscal year 2022 recovery grant program that we have been approved for. So that puts our total revenue for 2022 projected to be $76,348. Expenses for the Visitors Bureau fall into 3 categories: marketing, operations, and other. With still being in the middle of our first full year of activities since launching the brand and the website in 2020, we're looking at marketing dollars for 2022 for online and social media marketing to be about $24,000. Marketing in publications such as Have Fun Biking and, the other one escapes me. Let's Play Hockey is set for $7,008. Collateral development and printing is set for $3,720. And then we have some flexibility in our other types of marketing of $12,732, which may need to be shifted slightly to account for printing costs of the visitor's guide. Our total marketing expense falls at $47,460. Operations expenses for day-to-day expenses come in at $1,280. Membership to the Minnesota Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus is $390 per year. The annual conference for staff to attend for the Minnesota Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus is $375. And then per the ordinance establishing the Visitors Bureau, the charge of $10,000 or 25% of the total lodging tax revenue received by the city annually, whichever is greater, falls back to the city. So that is $15,756, giving us a total operating expenditure of $17,801. We also have the category of other in our budget, and this is used to reimburse the EDA trust fund and the city for startup costs associated with the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau. The total for 2022 is $5,954, and in that is 2 payments of $1,602 to the EDA trust fund payback, which will be the final 2 payments for that payback, and then 2 payments to the city of Cottage Grove, each of $1,375. So total revenue projections of $76,348 and total expense projections of $74,532 shows us a net income projected for 2022 of $1,815.60. So before you have a printed copy of the budget as well, and it's on the screen, we have a recommendation on the following screen, but I will ask for any questions that you have as of right now.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions on this budget? Okay, I don't see any.
Okay. So before you, Chairman, is the recommendation, and if you have any follow-up questions, I would be happy to stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Well, we have a recommendation here to approve the 2022 Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau budget. Pending any other thoughts or discussion, I would look for a motion to approve that.
I'll move that we approve the 2022 Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau budget.
Motion made by Vice Chair Olson,
I'll second.
second by Director Levine. Any further discussion? Seeing none, All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And then moving on to the next item, number 4.5, which is the annual report. Jamie, will just keep you right up there.
Thank you. So according to the bylaws of the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau, each year we are required to submit our annual report to the City Council no later than December 1st of each year. This report outlines the activities of the Visitors Bureau for the previous year. Q4 lodging tax payments are not due into the city until after the conclusion of Q4, which is 30 days past January 1st. With not being able to include Q4 revenue and expense numbers, we will not be able to provide a comprehensive look at the overall budget and activities of the Bureau for the year. So we are proposing an amendment to Resolution 2020-094, which would change Section 9. Basically, we are looking to change the date of the annual report being due to the City Council, switching it from December 1st to Q2 of the following year. That way we could provide an overall comprehensive look, including all budget numbers, expense numbers. So before you, Chairman, I have the following recommendation for you to accept, but I would be happy to stand for any questions.
Okay. Well, the only feedback I'll say is that I think it's reasonable that, we have time to perform all of our accounting standards before we provide a report to the council. So I don't see any challenge with this, but I'll open this up to any other discussion. Okay. So we're looking for a recommendation to approve the resolution amending Resolution 2020-094 and stating that the Bureau shall provide a written annual report to the City Council no later than Q2 of each year. The report shall outline the previous year's activities of the Bureau. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion made by Director Patel. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Chair Olson. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And then the final bit of business for us under Section 4 is 4.6, which is a visitor's guide presentation. And Julie will help us with that one.
Thank you. So 4.6 Visitors Guide, there is a lot of information under here, so I'll kind of break it down in pieces for you. The first piece that I wanted to discuss, a little bit of background at our last meeting in July. It was recommended and approved that we include ads in our Visitor Guide publication to help offset the printing cost. To talk to businesses and ask them to advertise with us. We did need to do a bit of research on our end, some pre-work, if you will, about what other local places are asking for in terms of their ad prices and what we wanted to set our pricing structure and our ad size structure at. So we did some research on that end. We thought that businesses who, even if they are moderate in their finances, we still wanted them to be able to, advertise with us. So our lowest size ad is 1/8 of a page at $95, and then we did follow some best practices or standards with including higher costs for things such as the inside cover and the inside back cover. So we did create this flyer to send out to businesses along with an introductory letter, pardon me, on some Cottage Grove letterhead and just introducing them to the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau, that we're newly established and, what we do and what we offer, and that we are looking to produce this guide in 2022. Currently, we have sold 9 total ads. You can see the list of advertisers here on the right. We are hoping that we can still reel in a couple more that we believe to be on the fence. We did extend our deadline to December 1st. The ads are in varying sizes, but approximately our revenue for these ads is $3,600. The sizes vary as well. It will take up about 4 pages in our guide approximately. And just to note, some advertisers were excited to work with us, but because we are new and this is our first print run, they were hesitant to move forward because they weren't sure about website traffic and views and things like that. They want some more historical data that we can show them moving forward. So we do believe that moving forward, we will be able to show businesses that to help sell some of those. Moving forward, the visitor's guide. Printing, we did reach out to 3 printers to receive bids for the visitor's guide. At our meeting on July 27th, it was discussed that we explore the possibility of mailing these to Cottage Grove residents as well. So we did ask for a bid for some numbers for that. In the process of doing this, each printer did let us know that due to some supply chain issues with paper companies, they are limited on the amounts of stock they receive. So the bids are moving quickly and the allocation is as well. So just so we know that moving forward. To get some accurate bid numbers from the printers, we did need to know how many pages we would have in the visitor's guide. So we do have a detailed plan of our outline for including maps and introductory information to Cottage Grove and laying things out by season. And so based on all of that, I did think that we had ample amount of space with 32 pages plus the 4-page cover to also include that information with our advertisers coming in. So we contacted 3 printers for these bids based on the 32 pages and 4-page cover, full color with bleeds and a saddle stitch binding. And I had passed around an Amazon toy catalog actually that will give you an idea of this aqueous coating that I did ask the printers to bid out as well. It gives it a softer, more velvety feeling on the top. I did like that, and I just wanted to see how much it would cost to have our material stand out a little bit more in the crowd to do that. We asked them to provide estimates for quantities of 2,500 and 5,000 copies. In addition to that, as I mentioned, we also asked one printer to provide 15,500 and another for 18,000 guides should we want to move forward with sending these guides to Cottage Grove residents based on our comments from the July 27th meeting. Before you are the bid quotes for each printer, and I did just want to note that the bids for the larger quantities do not include postage, which would also be an added expense if we were to go down that road. Another piece in the visitor's guide is the design, of course, and the working outline that we have in the draft. We talked in July about having these seasonal categories of things that are going on in Cottage Grove. And just as a side note, from a design perspective, I'd like you to keep in mind everything is sort of a working draft until it's sent to the printer. Because we do have ads coming in and we're adjusting for space and content in those areas, things are fluid and moving. Personally, I do like to try and put advertisers where it makes the most sense in the guide as opposed to, 2 pages in the back and they're all sitting together. So as these ads come in, I am adjusting layout, still following our outline that we have detailed, but making sure that everything is as cohesive as possible as it's coming in and flowing. So I do have a Halloween layout to show you. Of course, things like fonts and colors and all that are updated in the final design stage. These are just sort of working layouts. But we have here the Pumpkin Chuck, Fall Fun Fest, Monster Bash Parade, and then the haunting experience with hay rides and the haunted house. I did try to keep to our high quality, engaging photos, some action shots in there. And I did also want to just note, in part of the process of creating this guide for the first time. We're still building our image library, and we've done, a really good job from the summer up until now building that. But I am trying to partner and establish relationships with some of our businesses out there about using their high quality photos as well. So you can see that the haunting experience, especially in the Fall Fun Fest, these are photos from Zivix that they've allowed us to use and to reproduce for our own purposes. So I have reached out to quite a few other businesses and folks that are creating high quality photos, such as like wedding photographers for a lot of our event venues. So part of this is the creation and formation of those partnerships as well. You'll see in this next layout for the holidays, we talk about the Canadian Pacific Holiday Train, the City Hall tree lighting, breakfast with Santa, and the sleigh ride over at River Oaks, and then the Hail to the Bird Thanksgiving 5K. Right now, I did put in some photos here for you, but I would love to change out these photos at the top to breakfast with Santa and the Hail to the Bird 5K, and then keep this very nice Canadian Pacific Holiday Train as the main photo. But just to give you an idea of sort of how we're working with, and it was apparent to me at our last meeting the importance of these images and conveying a certain feeling of Cottage Grove and who we want to come here and have people. So having these large images hopefully is attractive and eye-catching for them to read on further in the content. So, Chairman, I have the following recommendations before you to accept. I'll be happy to stand for any questions.
Okay.
I know that was a lot of information.
A lot of information. I'd like you to go back 2 slides to the one with the pumpkin.
Yes.
That is one gnarly looking pumpkin. Man, I'm glad Halloween's over. Oh,
Like that action shot.
yeah, wow. Yeah, so I think that, we're moving in a nice direction with the images and the layout. I think it looks very professional and good. High-resolution pictures, nice layout. I didn't analyze all the language that was used, but I'm sure that everything was written exceptionally well. So we can move back to the final slide. And so we do have 2 things here in front of us, but before we get to those, is there any questions or feedback that we want to give Julie on this? Okay, not seeing any. Item number 1 is consideration of approving securing a bid under contract in spending authorization for up to $7,000 and for the printing of 2,500 visitor guides due to fluctuations in the market and supply chain issues of paper prices. So that would be the very first one. Do I have a motion to approve that consideration?
I'll make a motion to approve the up to $7,000 for the printing of the visitor's guide.
Okay, thank you, Director Levine. Motion made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director Patel. Any further conversation on this topic? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And number 2 is consideration of approval of calling a special meeting on Tuesday, January 18th, 2022 at 7:30 a.m. to review and provide final feedback for revisions of the 2022 Visitors Guide.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Olson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Patel. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, so that'll wrap up everything for us under business items. Next, we will go to number 5, which is other business, and the very first one is Convention Visitor Bureau comments. I think what we'll do is we'll start down at the end and see if Director Levine has any comments she would like to make.
I just want to say that visitor's guide so far is just looking amazing, so great job.
Thank you. Director Patel?
I completely forgot about this, but is there still space for the hotel?
Yes. And I
Do you-
have a note here to chat with you after. So yes, absolutely.
I think we extended the deadline to the 8th of December, right?
The 1st, yes.
1st of December, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
We make it the 8th for you though, of course.
And you email me twice too, right?
All right. Anything else, Director Patel? Okay. Vice Chair Olson, any comments?
I did find it interesting that in the list of advertisers, we did not have any of our hotels or restaurants, so I'm glad to hear that we're gonna fix that. That's great. I have a couple of comments. Number one, just a little housekeeping issue. With respect to the agenda, it would be advisable to have an item at the beginning of the agenda to approve the agenda for the meeting. I know today we got a little confused because we had two different documents we were working off of. So it's always nice to have a approve the agenda after the kind of the housekeeping of, making sure that we're all here and whatever else. So I just wanted to recommend that. Second thing that I wanted to talk about real briefly is, it's pretty exciting to engage in this process. I mean, we're kind of creating something out of whole cloth. And I like the idea that the staff is really working with more established convention and visitors bureaus out there to gain some insight into, what they might be doing, how they might be doing it, et cetera. But even more so, we're trying to make sure that this Convention and Visitors Bureau is all about Cottage Grove. And so even though we benchmark what some other people are doing, we're still creating our own content and what have you. One reminder that we did talk about several months ago is as we're looking at creating the printed copies that we're ultimately going to send out to people, let's remember the diversity of our community and try to make sure that the photographs reflect that, et cetera. And then two, anything we can do to engage our local businesses in this process and help them know what our mission is and why we're doing these things, and to gain their insight and partnership, I think is valuable. So as we proceed forward, maybe it'd be worthwhile to have various guests come in and sit in on a meeting or, create an opportunity where we do some work with, the restaurants, the hoteliers, et cetera, just to make sure that they're aware that, we're here, we're working on their behalf, and that, we really want them to have a seat at the proverbial table to help us out. I'm really excited to see that we've got Dennis here today from River Oaks because, River Oaks is a magnificent facility. I spent 2 days of my weekend there this last weekend, and it's a great place. It offers a lot of different things, and this is the sort of opportunity to present River Oaks maybe in a different light to some people who wouldn't otherwise go to River Oaks for different things. And I just use that as a microcosm of the larger conversation that we've got a lot of really neat things going on here in town, and we want to make sure that not only we're aware of what they do, but they're aware of what we do.
All right, well, thank you. And then I have a few things here for us. The very first is a request that when we have our meeting in January, it would be very interesting to see if we can obtain some performance measurements that might be coming off of our website. I'm not an IT person, but I do know there's various ways that we can check, traffic of the website, things like that, and just get some type of a breakdown. It'd be interesting to track this as we go through time and see as we're creating more awareness for ourselves. The second thing I'm going to mention is that we do have currently 2 openings for this particular commission. And we're looking for 2 great individuals who would like to join our board and be part of this with us. I know that Lori and the Chamber were kind enough to put this out on their page. And so we've got information, I'm quite sure, on our city's webpage as well. So if you know of anyone or have interest, please don't hesitate to hit us up on that. We would love to add to our commission so we can have that be full, I think, for the first time in a long time. So number 3, and Vice Chair Olson, you mentioned we do have a special guest, Mr. Dennis Neitz, out here with us today. And the one risk that you run, we're gonna have a little fun with this, the one risk that you run is that when you show up to the game, and you're on the sideline and you're a player to the level that you are, the coach might tag you in. So I'm not going to do that to you, but if there's anything that you might feel you add to what I'm about to say or make it be better, you would certainly be welcome to come up and say a few words. But I also want to echo the great amenity that we have at River Oaks. And it's a place that can be enjoyed by the community year-round. This is a community-owned business. When we support this, we support ourselves through the tax dollars that are raised. It's a great thing. And so right now, we've got a number of unique opportunities that are going on. And one of the things that Vice Chair Olson mentioned is last Friday night, a bunch of us showed up for the pop-up dinner that we had. And the food was exceptional, the service was very good. This is an opportunity to give, again, folks a chance to dine here in the community and be part of it. It was a wonderful time. We also have event space available that can be used for everything from holiday gatherings, reunions, business meeting space, et cetera. The space is very competitively priced, and we have all the line items of support that can go along with that, food, beverage, service, et cetera. We've got good AV, audio, video down there for us as well, so it's a great opportunity and place for folks to go. We also do weddings, various gatherings, and we have the Santa Breakfast, which is coming up, which is on Sunday, December 12th from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30. And I believe, does that require a reservation? Yes, it does. So we can get reservations by visiting riveroaksmunigolf.com or calling 651-438-2121 for that. And then the last item that I want to mention is that as we get into this week, and we're in the week of Thanksgiving, Black Friday starts up with all the big sales, right, for shopping. And so I like to mention, as we've done at the council table, as we've done through the Economic Development Authority, and now through this body here, to ask folks to remember to shop local. There's some great benefits that come to us when we do that. First and foremost is when you shop at an independent local business, 68 cents out of every dollar stays here working for everybody in the community through business, payroll, taxes, charitable giving, et cetera. It's a great way of helping us to build our local economy, do it one sale at a time, and keep Cottage Grove strong, which I think falls into the very heart of what we're doing here, is to make our community be better. So that's what I have, unless there's any follow-ups or anything anyone would like to add to this. We'll move on to section 5.2, which is response to previous comments. I don't believe that we had any. And then last but not least, we will call for adjournment. But before I do that, the next meeting will be a special meeting held on Tuesday, January 18th, 2022 at 7:30 a.m. right here inside the council chambers. So with that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Director Patel. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Vice Chair Olson. Any further discussion on that for the record? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, everyone, and have a great Thanksgiving.